Off Truck Stop Load Board Pro for 6 months. The best tool for serious carriers. Don't miss out. Click the link in the description to get 20% off Load Board Pro for 6 months. Need capital to grow your business or cover unexpected expenses? Rock Financial has your back. Whether you're looking for a flexible line of credit, a fast cash advance, or tailored working capital solutions, Rock Financial makes it simple to get funded, often in as little as 24 hours. No hidden fees, an easy application, and real support from people who know the business. Ready to take your hustle to the next level? Tap the link in the description to get started with Rock Financial today. Wish insurance was this easy? With Log Rock, it's like magic. Real coverage appears when you need it. No tricks. Get covered now. Click the link in the description.
Warning: the following content contains strong language and may not be suitable for children. This content is primarily for adults, as this is a trucking channel and truckers have filthy mouths. Please don't tweak if I say. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's up? What up? Come on in, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications. How's everybody doing this Friday? Late afternoon, early evening now. Come on in, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications. I gotta get back in the habit. All right, boom. If you guys need working capital for your business, channel sponsor Rock Financial. There's a link in the description below. Working capital, business lines of credit, so on, so forth. For your box truck business, your trucking business, cargo van business, make sure you guys click that link in the description below. For working capital needs, if you guys need commercial insurance to start your business, well, you do need commercial insurance to start your business if you're starting a trucking business. There's a link in the description below for Log Rock. If you are shopping and you're looking for better rates, they can help you there as well. Make sure you guys click that link in the description for Log Rock below. How's everybody doing? Come on in. I know it's been a minute. Come on in. How's everybody doing? I ain't going to be here long. I promise you I'm not going to be here long. Let's see. Let me see. We got Bill Bob in the building. Shout out to Denise. Shout out to Cordell. Shout out to all the MGM members. Almighty Blessings. Shout out to Chicago's very own Slick Turbo. Craig Freeman. Shout out to Mikey B. What's going on? How's everybody doing? I know it's been a minute. The past 2-3 weeks I've only done the two trucker pot, broker versus trucker, right? I did the live stream. I did the call-in show, right? Like 2 weeks ago. And I did that live stream about 2 weeks ago with the box truck bro Sam. I haven't really been doing live streams that much no more. I haven't been doing live streams that much. Shout out to I Am Joe. Said how's mom's doing? Mom is blessed. Just enjoying retirement. That's a good segue. She's enjoying retirement, and that's kind of similar to what I'm going to kind of talk about today, because two people requested, me talk about this. I've had people request me to talk about this in the past, but it just didn't make sense at the time, because we just couldn't get past things like cost per mile. We couldn't get past things like operating costs. We couldn't get past debates on how much money it costs, and just going back and forth. And then I've come to the determination recently that ignorance is never going to go nowhere. And it's a line drawn in the sand. You're going to have people that agree with you. You're going to have people that disagree with you. We in a culture now where that I had to realize where uh, it's a big generation gap. Um, I also I was thinking like a lot of the young cats that's coming into like business now and doing thing, they parents is not that much older than them. They like partying in the same clubs together. So the mindset and the wisdom that, let's say, like a person of my age got from our parents, people that are like my age, like our parents' mindset was totally different than a lot of these young cats. That's and there's no not to. It's like, don't take this shit the wrong way, because it's just what it is. It just is what it is. A person that's 20 something now, they parent maybe in their early to mid 40s, let's say. The mindset of a early to mid 40s person today isn't like the mindset of a person who is in their early to mid 40s, that same person's parents. So a lot of the wisdom that we got, you know what I'm saying? See, we already got people. I ain't even said shit. We already know who this is. This person is obsessed, but this person don't understand the type of the individual they dealing with. Like, when the shit that I got back here, if I told you and I showed you, and this person is clearly, we know who this person is. He doesn't understand the level of reach that I have. And it's been proven already on this channel. Like, he playing a game that I really don't think he want to play. Y'all can't see him. Oh yeah, you can. Now you can. But he just playing a dangerous game. Mr. Crazy Man. Mr. Crazy Man. If I showed you something right now, you would shit on yourself. And it ain't got nothing to do with me. It got something to do with you. And I've done this before. One, you gonna be like, damn, how did he get that? I swear for God, on everything I love. I ain't lying to you. I ain't bullshitting you neither. Just chill out, bro. Like, this obsession stalker shit you got going. I knew once I did content, it probably would happen. I didn't think it would happen to a guy like me. This, like, I'm not doing red pill content. I'm not doing politics. I'm not doing religion. But it happened. It's strange, bro. But just know that I got eyes, because right now it's kind of strange to me, and I just want to make sure that you don't go do nothing too crazy for your protection, not for mine. I'm straight. I want to make sure that your obsession don't put you in a situation that you not expecting. All right. So you can keep watching and being obsessed, but just don't let your obsession take you somewhere where where I'm telling you, crazy. I'm being real honest. I'm not like none of these other guys that you seen come up and can have conflictions. I can show you some shit right now that will prove to you about you that you don't want to play with me. The moment I realized that you might be a little bit too obsessed, that I had to go ahead and make sure. I come from a place where, we don't, if I feel any little inclination of that you might be stupid, I said, let me go ahead and I think you should leave me alone. It's not that serious. I don't agree with what I didn't agree with for you to be this obsessed about the gigging thing. And I think you should work and provide a um a good quality of life for your family in general. This is why you disagree, and this is where your obsession stem from. You disagreeing with a person who agrees that they should provide a good quality of life. Not because we disagree on politics, not religion, not red pill, none of that shit that you see this from. You disagree because I believe that a man should provide a good quality of life, and you believe that you should be poor purposely so you don't have to whatever that done. I can't even remember it all because it's just stupid. But this is where your obsession stem from, and it all played out. So it's like people ain't like knowing I'm making this up. It's just a shame that you this obsessed. You the same person that literally sat in the car to debate me with your whole family. I can't even do a live stream without you here from just like I got shit to know who you are. I can track your IP. Like I can do it all. I know who you are. I know who the favorite content creators. Mr. Dick 'em down. I know who you are. I'm not gonna put you out there. I know who you are. When you come in here and try, I know who you are. This is 2025. If you have some money and the right connections, you can like it's not hard, bro. Just chill out. Watch the show, agree, disagree, but the stalking obsession shit, bro, just stop. This conversation that we about to have ain't even for you anyway. This ain't for a person like you. I don't even know why you're here. We're about to talk about real life situations that you choose not to participate. You don't want to participate in elevation. You don't want to participate in growth and savings and investments. So I don't even understand why you here. I don't even understand why you here. This conversation ain't for you. Mark, did you turn up the ads? Nope, I haven't turned up anything. YouTube recently just, redid everything on their back ends. They made like 6 changes, and all 6 changes were ad based. Nothing to do with me. Ad based. I haven't changed anything. So all right. So let's talk about box truckers. Just truckers in general that get stuck. This is something that came up in the Discord the other day. Somebody said, Mark, I don't think a lot of these guys that get the box truck really don't realize that what they want to do or what they're expecting is going to happen with the cost of living, and the cost of living that's going to continue to rise. And I agree. Somebody else was in there and said, Mark, why don't you ever talk about it? I gave them a spiel that I probably gave before, something like, people ain't ready. We can't get past, cost per mile. How, if a person can't understand the importance of understanding their operating costs, they definitely not going to understand inflation. They definitely are not going to be able to understand that they're in an industry where the cost of operation over a period of time as we go forward is going to continue to rise. And in order to win at this or anything, you have to keep up with the rate of inflation. Do I know the likelihood of being able to sustain a box truck business and a good covering the cost of living with one truck? We're speaking from one truck. It's a task? Absolutely. I know that. But you can't, if you tell people that, I already know it's going to get met with opposition ignorantly, right? You're going to have an individual that said that they're doing it, right? But the individual that's saying they're doing it, and I've done plenty of case studies. I may not be telling you I'm doing a case study, but I've talked to enough people on the call-in show, talked to enough people behind the scenes, I've talked to enough people in the Discord to know that they really don't understand. They'll say something like, yo, well, I'm making it. Yeah, but you robbing from the sustainability of your business. Business is making money. Whatever you're taking left over, that's what you're covering the cost until boom, something happens and boom, you're done. And then we're not even thinking about later on down the line, which is the future. They're not thinking about 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line. This is why you got guys that are still in trucking 30 years. You can be in trucking for a year. Don't take you a year to realize that one, and I'm not taking anything away. If you're a person who just want to drive for 30 years, go ahead. Me personally, I wouldn't advise it. I was talking to an older employee of mine who's in trucking now. He drives a semi truck. Quite few of my guys are in trucking now as far as driving semi trucks. He's been driving for a year, year and a half, and he already won out. Made great money here in Chicago. Already won out. Say it's not good for his body. Healthy and shaped diet. You gotta remember this guy did moving for me for years. So what do you do? How do you set yourself up? So let's talk about the trap. And I ain't gonna be here long. I'm gonna be honest with you. One truck in today's economy does not generate enough. Can some people make it? Absolutely, right? Because you got people in different markets. You have people whose cost of living is going to be a lot lower than others. A person who only has themselves to fend for, like the guy we reacted to maybe 2 weeks ago who sold everything, his plight ain't going to be the same as the person who came into this business, bought a truck, and is trying to navigate within this industry with their one truck, cover the cost of the business, and they got a family and let's say 2 kids. And then we got to throw in the what the new thing, the wife or the spouse or the wife or the partner that's at home that doesn't work. A lot of people now their partners don't work. So that's a lot to sustain with only one vehicle of income in today's economy. And an economy that the cost of living is going to consistently go up. You got three responsibilities, three buckets. Let's say three buckets, right? You got the cost of operating a business, right? So that's your fuel, your insurance, your maintenance, compliance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You got one bucket. That's one bucket. Then you got the second bucket, which is the owner's personal cost of living, your rent, your mortgage, your food, your utilities, your car notes, family expenses. You got kids, extracurricular activities, pom pom, cheerleading, basketball, AAU, soccer, baseball, all this extra shit. Kids growing, new clothes, back to school fees, back to school clothes. Oh, Mark, I don't send my kids to school. At home school, the subscriptions for that, the subscriptions for the iPad, the iPad, the laptop, so on and so forth. You guys that got kids and families and wives and spouses, you know how the cost of living can add up. That's the second bucket, right? The third bucket is the bucket that nobody thinks about. The third bucket is the bucket that nobody thinks about. Big Mark thought about it. That's the bucket don't nobody think about. Y'all know what that bucket is? Somebody tell me what that bucket is. What's the third bucket? What's the third bucket? Roger Lacey got it right. Future sustainability. Future sustainability. Money for the future, working capital for the business, right? Savings, retirement. We're going to put all that in the third bucket. What normally happens, the owner operator robs from bucket 3 to survive. We see it all the time, owner operators, box truckers robbing from the sustainability of business to cover the cost of living. We've had people that came up on testimonials. We've had people that have come up on the call-in show back like last year and the year before last, when I really would go through their shit and walk them through their numbers. We'll go through their numbers and I walk this shit down and I would do all the math. Remember when I used to do that until y'all pissed me off and I got tired of doing that shit? But I would do all the numbers on the live stream, and then I would be like, well, there's a bunch of money missing. And then people would do that, it would take an hour for them to lie, and they couldn't get the lies past me. Y'all been around for a minute. Y'all remember them live streams, and they was trying to sell me on all this bullshit, and I wasn't going. Then about 45 minutes after that, they had to give in. Where the money go? Man, I gotta take care. I was selling my wife, was selling my baby mama on the road. Oh, you gotta take care of home, which is fine. I'm not saying there's any. I mean, from a business perspective, the business really don't care about your home. But if that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. You pay your household bills, which keeps the truck barely rolling. Why is it barely? Because the truck business has no working capital. We've seen it over and over. And my channel is probably the only channel in the space that showcases it, because I talk to real people and they divulge this information to me so that we can get the bottom and get to the source and the root of the problem. When the breakdown hits, the business collapses. We never get to put anything in the bucket 3. These guys never get to put anything in a bucket 3. Living check to check becomes the norm. That's why you see these guys out here 25, 30 years with all type of ailments, prostatitis, big ass bellies, because of the circumstances, that they're in due to, the industry that they're in. And that's what happens. It's an unfortunate cycle that exists. Retirement planning feels like a luxury to a lot of people, but it doesn't have to be like that. A lot of people, they'll say things like, I'll figure it out once the business gets up and going. And what we see now with the, evolution of this sector on the internet, and we've had enough years now to do enough case studies, and we can accredit a lot of that due to, the pandemic and the amount of entrants that came in and have exited, that never happens. There's going to be people that's going to watch this and they're not going to care, because that's just the society that we're in now. A lot of people don't care. We see it. But then when that time comes, I swear to you, on everything I love, those people are going to be wishing they made different decisions when they had the opportunity. What people that are in trucking, box truckers, owner operators have to realize, I've said it before, there's no HR. You are your HR. So there's no company match, unlike when you work, a W-2 job. There's no employer 401k. There's nobody to call you into that HR office and sit you down and go over this shit with you. If you don't put the money away, nobody will. Like nobody's gonna like call you into the office and say, you know what, you're full time. We're offering you a full time benefits package and walk you through this shit. If you don't proactively do this shit yourself, then ain't nobody gonna do it for you. A lot of these guys, they don't have that. A lot of these guys don't have health insurance. So when you talk to a person, which most people that I talk to in box trucking, whether you see me ask on the show or off the show, don't have it. So if they don't have health insurance, you know they ain't set money away for retirement. Why? Because they don't have the money to invest into these things. This business, if you don't operate it correctly, is a high cash drain. Fuel, insurance, a lot of people that have a mindset where I was talking to someone this morning, one of my old employees was like, well, Mark, what if I just buy the truck, I could put a driver in it? I had to have a long conversation with him because he should know better. And even with the lack of reliability on people today, the cost of living is still increasing. So in order to keep somebody in the driver's seat, you have to do what? You have to pay them handsomely. So that's going to attribute to as a part of your rising cost in the business. Repair bills, so on and so forth. Another reason why money going into the future gets ignored, a lot of people got a short-term mindset. I say it all the time. I see it all the time, which is another reason I pull back. Like, I'm not finna keep going back and forth over the same shit with people that just got short-term mindset. I realized it. It's a losing battle, so fuck it. Most people got a short-term mindset. The people with the billions and billions and billions of dollars like Google and Facebook, they know it. Why? Why do you think they went from pushing long form content to short form content? People got short mindset, they got short attention spans. People think for today, they don't think for tomorrow. The focus is on making the next week's or the current week's, if they're renting a truck, rental. Making enough for insurance, making enough to so they can get fuel to get to the next load. They not thinking 10 years or 20 years from now. They're not thinking it from a business perspective. They're not thinking it in their personal life. But what you mean? Well, they're not thinking it from a business perspective because they don't understand what it's costing them to run their business. They didn't take the time, nor are they taking the time now to figure out ways to how to operate a lean business. They not thinking about it in their personal life because of the decisions that they making in their personal life. I was watching something last night, totally not related to trucking. It was a podcast live stream in a different sector. And they were talking about what's the basketball player that got the baby by Brittany Renner? And how she asking for $35,000 a month. Now translate that to something, where the revenue is way less a month. You got people that are out here making decisions in their personal life that's increasing their cost of living, all while simultaneously trying to start a business or scale a business. All that factors in. Now, some people are gonna say some derogatory things and they're gonna disagree, but it's the truth. Kids cost money. Every kid is another expense. Not to say don't have it, but some people irresponsibly just do things all at the same time instead of planning things out. Okay, I'm starting a business. Maybe I should hold off on this until the business gets established. Let me jimmy up. I'm just using that as an example. Or they may go out and acquire something that they may not need, which is increasing their cost of living on the personal side. And now they got to rob from the business to cover that bill or that note. They may not need that. That money could be going into something that's going to set you up later. Results. 5 years roll by, you still getting by. 10 years roll by, you still getting by. 15 years roll by, you still getting by. You still ain't put no money into nothing so that you can get out. That, if you would have did it 15 years ago and you stuck by and you had a strong mindset, which we know most people don't because they got a short-term mindset. Now you 15 years in, you still ain't got shit. All you got is memories of all the miles you driven. Your claim to fame is you a 1,000,000-mile trucker. Or 2 million miles, you got 2 million miles under your belt. Okay. That's the result. The longer you live check to check, which you don't have to, the longer you rob from your future. That's why you see so many people complaining. A lot of people complain because they just not happy because life fucking them up. And the thought of everything that I'm talking about is getting to them. The business can never build any reserves because you're constantly making withdrawals from the business to take care of your personal shit. I talked a lot last year and the year before last about separating your person and your business. A lot of people can't do that. Why? Because they can't make the sacrifices to do so. We had one guy come up twice over the course of my 3.5 years doing content. He called in twice. Constant watcher of the show still. But since he's called up twice, we're going to use him as a case study. 4 or 5 years in this business, because he said this, still ain't paid no taxes. Never gave IRS not one dime. 4 or 5 years. But then bragged about buying a Mustang for his daughter because she did good and this, that, and the third and all that. And all that's fine. If you watch that, if he's watching that, notice I didn't give him a rebuttal because when people get into their personal shit with their family, I don't get him because it's sensitive. I may not agree with it, but I just keep that shit to myself. That's the mindset. Don't mean it's right. It's not right. It's absolutely wrong. But this is the way people think. I've never, me personally, consider myself an owner of anything. I always structure my shit as I'm an employee. I know how I have a strong mindset and know how to separate the two. I've never put myself in a situation where I put the business in jeopardy. I'm a person who can make sacrifices. I have a strong mindset. I challenge my mind every year still. And I do things to make sure my mind stays strong, because if my mind gets weak, then everything else follows. A lot of people ain't strong minded. The moment they have a good month or 2 good months and they see some money, they go spend it on some dumb shit. They don't have a strong mindset to just let that money sit in the crew in the business as cash flow and prepare for the unexpected. Now you parallel that. Same thing with investing into the future. However, let's not think of anything like intricate and detailed. So not like IRAs or anything like that, SCPs. Let's think about like let's say a person just invests money every week into like the S&P. Something that they can go touch on their own. They ain't gotta go see their financial advisor. They ain't gotta draw it down, take penalties and shit like that. Let's say something simple like that they can do in Robinhood. Let's say they got acorns or some shit like that. And let's say they are strong at first. Let's say they got a good 12 months of just put money into their week. Boom, and then something happens. A strong mindset person ain't gonna go touch that shit. If the business doesn't have the working capital to figure that shit out, they gonna figure something else out. They ain't gonna go touch that shit. Or if something happens in the home and the business is cash flowing and they've been paying themselves modestly, right? Just enough to get by because they only have one truck. So the money has been going into the business. They've been paying themselves modestly, just enough just to keep the house in order, but not enough to put into their personal savings. Because we got to be honest. Something happens at home. Let's say they own a modest home, they're not renting. What do? Most people we know today are going to rob from the business. And then that's when the cycle starts. And then what we know is it's going to be hard for them to pay that money back. They've been strong enough not to touch it, but once they go touch it that first time, that cycle of being strong and not touching it, it's a wrap. Now, every time they run into a situation, they go touch it until it's all gone. It was just like those people that when I first started doing content, when the box truck business was really, it was on its decline then, but it was still hype around it. I talked to a lady who took out her retirement, lost it. I talked to another lady who she had a college fund for her child. Against my advice, she took it out, lost it all. It was like 30 grand, lost it all. There's no way on God's green earth I would have touched either one. I would have figured some shit out. Both of those women, they followed the trend, and money that they had invested into the future, they lost it. Following some hype and following the trend. So even as an owner operating a business owner, you're responsible for investing into the future, but you're also responsible for letting that money sit and accrue for 20, 15, 30 years and not touching it. That whole generational wealth, that's what it is. You don't get generational wealth from one box truck. A box truck can start and be the vehicle that takes you in the direction, but just one box truck in itself is not going to get it. And generational wealth is accrued over time by putting money into it and not touching it. You're letting that money accrue and roll over and roll over and roll over and roll over, and then you die. Generational. If you are the catalyst, you're the person that's starting it, you're not going to get a chance to reap the benefits of it. You're the person that's taking the sacrifice to get it started. That's why when I talk to people and I listen to them talk, and they come with this rhetoric that they heard online, it's easy for me to win in the debate. They don't know what the hell they talking about. So then you want to wonder, what can a single owner operator do then to break the cycle? Same thing I've been telling you. First, you got to stop listening to the dumb shit. You ain't got to listen to me. I've already showed and proved it. Some people are going to accept it. Those are the people that you see win. Then you got some people that's, got this new mindset, which is cool too. I had to realize that we come from different generations, and a lot of my wisdom and understanding comes from the people that came before me, but in a different time period. The young generation now that's in their 20s, their parents is my age. The wisdom that we got from our parents' generation, this generation ain't giving that same level of wisdom to them. So you got to understand that. A smart individual coming into this business is going to start lean. And they're going to be consistent throughout their journey of staying lean. They don't overspend. They're constantly shopping every year. They're diligent about that as far as insurance is concerned. They don't invest into unnecessary personal luxuries too prematurely. And too prematurely, like you see people, they go get a box truck the first year, Hellcat. Who told you that just because you got a business, you supposed to have a Hellcat or you deserve a Hellcat? You ain't even been through nothing yet. You ain't even seen the storm yet. But you got an $1,800-$1,900 car note that you gonna regret. Listen to the blood that came up 2 weeks ago. He got a Hellcat. He don't want to get rid of it. I talked to him for over an hour and helped him solve his issue. Y'all watched it. The answer to his issue lied within 2 keys that he got sitting in a nightstand drawer. Don't want to let him go. One just sitting in the storage. Don't want to let it go. Ain't paying insurance on it. That's a flag. You ain't paying the insurance on it. Why? Even if it's in insurance, it's in the store, you still should be paying insurance on it. What if the storage facility catch on fire? I didn't tell him that. Why? Certain things I just stay away from. So clearly, if you got an I-8 that's just sitting in storage that you say you're not paying insurance on, to me, that's alarming. Because if it was really that, you can sit that bitch in storage, pay the insurance on it, and you wouldn't bat an eye. It wouldn't matter to you, but you still gonna protect that investment. See, I didn't mention that on the show because I wanted to keep things going level. I didn't want to get into like the personal because then that would have, but we can talk about it now because we're talking about this. it was really that, like my trucks, they just parked. I'm paying insurance on them, so it ain't nothing. That's how you really know when it's that. See, now a young person wouldn't have caught that. I caught it. I just didn't expound on it at the time. I'm a patient individual. I got to get to the source of the problem. He admitted, yo, I'm done with it. I made a lot of foolish decisions, but I want to go forward. The one thing that's going to take him forward, he still don't want to let it go. You can get it back. Don't want to let it go. Build business reserves. A lot of people fail in business because they don't have the cash flow. I'm tired of arguing with people about that shit. Somebody came into an old video yesterday and left a long ass comment about I'm negative. You can definitely do it for under this. Don't listen to a person who's never done this before. So now I've never done this before. Like, I'm so sick of this shit. That's why I just don't. So let these people go out and with their dreams and their hopes and find out the hard way, like so many people do. I literally this morning, somebody came into my comments. Just for every person that says that shit, I always get somebody that say, man, I wish I would have listened to you. It never fails. For every person that say that dumb shit, I get a person that say, bro, man, you was right. Everything you said, I wish I would have listened to you. Like, I'm not gonna send nobody off the cliff, and I know what you need in order to be able to sustain in this business. You can't sustain in this business if you don't got no capital. Who told, like, where are y'all hearing this shit at? That you can just float and everything is gonna be hunky dory and just you don't need any money. You just come in with this little 37 or this 4,000 and then just cool, you good. Who's telling y'all this? And why are y'all believing that shit? That shit don't even make sense. It goes back to the wisdom. What did our parents teach us? All people that's 40, 45, 44, 40, our parents that were boomers, what did our parents tell us? What was the saying that they told us? If something sounds too good to be true, then it is. You don't hear that no more. They not taught that no more. That saying that we were taught, that was enough for us, that anytime we came across a situation that sounded too good to be true, it made us halt and assess the situation deeper before we made a foolish decision. No, man, I make money every day. A lot of it. And in the days where I don't, I usually get it back a couple of days later, whatever the case may be. But I make money every day. I have enough investments that I'm fine. By the grace of God. I've done pretty well for myself. But you got to understand this business is survival. In order for your business to survive, you got to invest into it. You got to constantly reinvest into it. In order for you to survive, the business has to be making enough money so that you can put money into the business for survival. The business can still have enough money to pay you enough so that you can cover your cost of living. And if you're fortunate because you go about things the right way, you can invest money into the future so that you don't have to be out here fucking for the rest of your life doing this shit. If you are aggressive about it and you make aggressive sacrifices and you roll the money aggressively, the shorter the term period. It's going to come with great sacrifices. Great sacrifices. There's an obsessed person in here right now that's watching right now. He's still in here, he's quiet. But I'm looking at him, who pokes fun at a couple of my biggest sacrifices. Because he thinks that's what makes him a man. I'm a man. Nigga, you're not no man. You can't even take care of your family. I could take care of your family. You can't take care of your family. That's where a lot of people fuck up at. They can't make those sacrifices. When the money is good, they make the wrong decisions with it. And then that time period comes where they got to look back. We all get to that time period. It's always going to be a time in life and in business where you're going to have to reflect. And it's going to be a person that's going to reflect and say, yo, I'm glad during this time period when this was going on, I did this, the right thing. But then it's always going to be those people that say, yo, during that time period, I wish I would have did this. Treat your business like a company and stand on it. If you work for a corporate job, if you work for Apple, you can't rob from Apple. Listen, when they pay you, you better figure that shit out until 2 weeks when they pay you again. You better manage that. Make sure you got enough gas money to get back and forth to work. Make sure you allot some money for grocery. Make sure you take care of your rent. Make sure you take care of your utilities. Make sure you give the kids their lunch money, whatever that you got to do. And hopefully, if you got a little bit left, you got to make that shit stretch until you get paid again. You got to do it the same way when you working for your business. Stop treating your business like it's your business. The business is the business. You are you. Pay yourself a modest salary and leave the rest in the business. And if there is a little, and you can start with something, it don't have to be a lot of money. Just start with something. If you can reinvest 1% into the future, start with that and then work your way up as the business matures and as you mature. The box truck is a vehicle. Like I said, the box truck ain't gonna itself give you this generational wealth. You can use that as a catalyst and as a stepping stone to get to it. One truck ain't gonna do it. Like the lifestyle, like a lot of y'all been sold, one truck ain't gonna get it. Mark, you hating. Okay, show me how. If you got one truck, now let's think. This is where you gotta you use your mind. You still gotta sustain the truck, the business. The business has to sustain. You have to sustain as well personally. We know it's razor thin margins. So now if you got a business that's sustaining cash flowing, you got to pay your bills. You got to make sure that you pay yourself to pay your bills. Do you really think it's going to be enough to build generational wealth? You can use that as the catalyst, but you got to keep going. The reason why a lot of people can't scale is because they can't master the first truck for all the reasons that we talked about thus far. This is why 80-90% of the people that come into this business are out within the first 24 months. This is why people can't invest into the future. And this is why the guys that do last can never get out. They're robbing Peter to pay Paul all those years. But I would recommend go talk to somebody, a financial advisor, and set you up something and stick to it. Whatever you put in it, leave it. If something happens, leave it. Figure that shit out. Don't touch it. Solo 401k, SEP, something. Continue to put small, consistent amounts into it. ETFs, index funds, whatever. Just go talk to somebody. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Be diligent about it. Be consistent with it. Don't touch it. Have something that's long term where you continue to roll over. Have other things that you might want to pull out after a short term period. Obviously, something like a solo 401k, something like that, you just not gonna touch it. Diversify. A big reason of my success is diversification in the trucking, moving in final mile. Moving is cash flow. It's a lot of money. No middleman. I'm just making money, just making that shit. Everybody that converts, they always come over and get my file. There's some guys in the Discord now. Ty in the Discord, Ty's so happy he converted over. And Ty came from, he failed in trucking in 2 weeks. He went to Lyft. He used to argue me down. But I told him what was going to happen with Lyft. Just like I tell everybody was going to happen. Lyft got so bad in his market. He was down on his luck. He had to listen to old Mark, and he tried it with a pickup truck. He doing 5,000 a week. Like, he's so giddy. He be messaging me every morning, and I'm like, "Bro, I should have been listening to you, OG." And he just hustling. He at the beginning stages. He just so happy in the Discord. He is happy. I've been saying this shit since day one. It's a cash flow business. It's a lot of work. It's hard. But you're dealing directly with a consumer. Premium. When my other business was met with challenges, I had this business over here. Now, that might not work for you. That level of diversification might not work for you. You may have to master one truck, recoup, invest in another truck. Now you got 2 trucks that are both profitable. Invest into some non-trucking shit. It doesn't have to be something as costly as the trucking business. It doesn't have to be something as costly as something like real estate. Just something where you're getting some more revenue coming in. If you have the money, if you have the credit, after you build a nice scale of trucks, which I would suggest a nice scale, maybe 3 to 5, maybe go buy a piece of property. maybe invest into something else outside of trucking. Still simultaneously while investing your money into something like a solo 401k. Outside of just ignorance, a lot of guys fail because of a lack of financial literacy, and that's just what it is. And I did a live stream about a month, maybe 2 months ago now. As far as just the black community is concerned, it's just sad, bro. Financial literacy in our community is just fucked up. It's just what it is. I talk to people, they treat gross income like profits. They rob from the sustainability to cover shit in their personal life and they neglect the future. You don't want to be you don't want to be a 70-year-old in a box truck or a 70-year-old in a goddamn it semi truck. Shit, you don't want to be a 50-year-old in that motherfucker. You don't want to be the person who retires and gotta go fucking greet at Walmart. You don't want to be the person who has to retire and still go do something else because your body done forced you out. Your body just can't take it no more. And you didn't start your preparation for the future journey soon enough where you have enough money to cover you for the rest of your life. And if you have a family and you got kids, to leave them something behind. Talking to the guy who was in here, the obsessed guy, he said he don't care about leaving nothing for his kids behind. They're gonna have to figure it out. Maybe that's the general sentiment of the new generation. I don't know, bro. I don't know. That struck me as odd when he said that. A father of 3 kids. I don't know, bro. It's strange to me. If you want the lifestyle and the trinkets that social media, and I'm not talking about just content creators and so I'm just talking about social media in general. Like in all sectors, you got people that are just pushing out lifestyle. You can attain it, but there's going to be a lot of things that you got to do to get to that point. And what I see is a lot of people aren't willing to do it. One is the financial discipline. One is the sacrifice. The other is the sacrifice, I should say. Cost of living ain't cheap. Just like the operating a trucking business ain't cheap. Cost of living ain't cheap. When I talk to people, one of the reasons I always ask them where you calling from or where you coming from is so I can take a case study of the mindset of people from different geographical locations. When I talk to people from larger cities where the cost of living is a lot more expensive, their ambition is totally different when I talk to people from smaller markets. When I talk to people, and this doesn't resonate with everybody, so I gotta always give a disclaimer because people are so emotional now that if you say something, they just automatically put themselves in the category. If the shit don't pertain to you, then don't put the goddamn jacket on. There are going to be some people in smaller markets that have a hustler's ambition. They're going to think like a person from a New York or Chicago, even though their cost of living is nowhere near it. Those are going to be the people that shine in those smaller markets. But when I talk to people in smaller markets, they don't really have that ambition like I see from people in larger markets. Why? Because the people in larger markets got to hustle harder because the cost may be 10 times what you're paying or more. When I talk to people from New York When I talk to people from Chicago, when I talk to people from LA, it's a different conversation versus when I talk to a person from South Carolina or North Carolina or goddamn it, Idaho or Iowa or Minnesota. If I talk to a person from Philly, that conversation gonna be different than me talking to a person from Kentucky. I know why the ambition is there. I know why the mindset is different. Because just survival within itself is different. I've been fortunate enough that doing content, I've got a chance to, one of the benefits that I really have enjoyed about it is getting a chance to talk to people from all different walks of life across the country. I've never gotten a chance in my whole life to talk to as many people from different walks of life from different parts of the country. I remember on one of the call shows, I talked to a husband and a wife. They both was quitting their job to start a box truck business. Both quitting. I said, well, one of y'all stay working as an insurance policy and then the other one go try it. They didn't want to do it. They just fed up with work. Their rent was only $650. So she felt like, man, our cost of living where they live is low, $650 fucking dollars for rent. I think there was a 2-bedroom. To me, that's asinine. It was unbelievable. Coming from where I come from, nah, it's gonna be somebody. I seen somebody in one of my comments, Mark, because I said the average 1-bedroom here in Chicago is $1,900. Mark, that ain't true. I live in Chicago. I live in Chicago too, but I'm not talking about the fucking gutter. I'm talking about the average across the city. I'm not focusing on just the fucking hood and Section 8 and your fucking portion of your second Section 8 payment. I'm talking about the average. And I didn't pull it out my ass. I did the research on it to see what the average was. My neighbor who owns the unit directly across from me, he's renting out that unit is a 1-in-1. It's about 450 square feet smaller than mine. He's renting that shit for $2,200. I got a 2-and-2. Parking space $250. So I'm like, okay, I guess you can. If your rent is that low. But a person in my market or New York, they wouldn't have took that risk. They wouldn't have took that risk. They would have went about it the way I said go about it. Why? Cost of living is too high to take that type of risk. Cost of living is too high to take those types of risks in these markets. Bigger markets just got a different type of ambition to go out and get it. With us, it's either sink or swim, and we trying our best to swim. This is where my ambition comes from. This is where I'm like, yo, I've got into it with people. That lady was mad at me. She unsubscribed. If I'm competing against you, I ain't got no choice, and we compete for the same. I'm gonna take advantage of you. I have to. I can't. I don't have the capacity to be kind to you if you're not within my circle. $30 come around real quick. And guess what? I'm smart enough and old enough to realize that the cost of living continues to go up. Why? Because I've been paying bills for a long, long fucking time and they ain't went down. So I'm not gonna be the naive person that if I start a business, I'm just gonna just be naive. I'm gonna make all the sacrifices that I need to make to continue to sustain, grow the business, cover my personal life, and then all the benefits and rewards I'm gonna get on the back end when the opportunity allows. Live below your means. People can't do it. Remember M.W. Lou? I always use M.W. Lou for a great case study. He was angry at Mark because Mark lived below his means. And he was upset with me for it. And I'm like, why are you upset with me for living below my means to build my business? Because he did the opposite. Same way crazy. The obsessed guy, upset with a person living below their means. That's what it takes to build a business, grow it, and sustain it. And I did it in Chicago. So when I talk to people in small markets that are struggling, to me it's like your cost of living ain't even that high. The only thing you need is some ambition and a lot of sacrifice, and you'll be fine. If you had the ambition of a New Yorker or a Chicagoan or a Los Angeles person in those small markets, you'll be fine. You don't got the ambition. You don't got the mindset, and you're not willing to make the sacrifices. Eventually, the young guys that like talking shit in the chat, eventually you see these grades, you're gonna get them too. It's cool. The difference is when you start to get them, is you gonna be in a situation where you got options, or you gonna be in a situation where you don't. It's funny when you crack your little ignorant jokes and shit, and you think you know everything, but we all get to this point. We all get to these little grades and shit. We all get there. It's funny now. We're gonna see if it's funny then. Laugh now, cry later, they say, huh? All right, man. I think I'm done. I think I'm done. No man said he enjoys trucking. Cool. Cool. You're an older person. You have a different mindset. A lot of younger people now, they don't enjoy it. They do it because they don't want to do anything traditional. When I say traditional, something where they're punching the clock and they have to report. Right? A lot of people want to do things now where they're their own boss, and trucking just happens to be one of those things that a lot of people come into. The thing is, when they come into it, they realize they don't want to do this either. That road, especially those guys that go over the road, that road is challenging. That should have break you. Like, you have to be mentally strong to just drive for hours looking at green pastures and black road with yellow lines. Like, you have to really be a strong-minded person. What we realize is people aren't strong-minded, so they don't fill that time in correctly. That time they could be listening to audiobooks. Instead, they arguing with they I don't know, arguing on the phone, or they fucking listening to Gunna, which is great. I love the new Gunna album. A person who is spending that time wisely is educating themselves. And that person ain't gonna be in that truck 30 years. Because they're gonna be open in their mind. And a lot of the shit that they disagree with, they're gonna start to agree with. A lot of people just don't want to do anything related to work. What society has put in people's heads now is make money from home, make money doing nothing, enjoy your life, your time is short, work life balance. I never heard of work life balance until 2020, 2021. That was the first time I ever heard of that shit. I've never heard that term, work life balance, before. All I heard was work, work, work some more, work, work again, work, 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 work some more, work, 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 work. That's all I heard. That's all I saw. Now it's the complete opposite. Society and culture has taught people not to work. So a person who doesn't have a strong mindset is gonna fall right into that category. But they don't realize that you gotta work to be able to afford a lifestyle, so that you can invest into things, so that you can have vehicles of revenue streams, so that you don't have to. In order to not work and wake up and be able to do whatever the fuck you want when you want, you gotta have revenue coming in for the rest of your life. Why? Because bills don't stop. I don't understand why people don't understand this shit. And this is why I'm not finna be going back and forth with people no more. Because a lot of these people that I go back and forth, the people that do come and apologize, when I ask them questions, I realize they not really out here. They'll get a box truck, but they stand at Meemaw house in the basement. They ain't paying no fucking mortgage. They ain't paying no rent. So when you talking to a person who is being sold a dream, let's say on some $5,000 shit, and then they want to argue with a motherfucker who has done this, that's really out here, really paying real bills and sustaining and growing and investing. This is why we can't meet right here. This is why it's a clash. Because when you talk to these people, their mentality ain't there. They don't know what it's like to really pay bills. They don't know what it's like to own property and own homes. They haven't experienced a decade of entrepreneurship and the pains and the struggles that come along with it. The sacrifices. Their mind ain't strong enough that they realize that, yo, I don't work for a company. If I don't invest into my future, nobody will. They live day to day, and then they get older and they get older and they get older, and then they get stuck. Now it's too late. Because even if they start, once they realize it later on, it's still not enough, because they should have started 15, 20 years ago. So now even starting at that point in life, it's too late. Because what they need to accrue, they should have already been halfway there headed by now. You just starting. So I ain't finna be going back and forth with ignorant shit no more. Not doing it. It's easy to tell somebody, man, $5,000. Okay, cool. I know it's cap. I'm gonna tell you the real, and I'm gonna tell you everything you need to get through, get over, and get gone. So yeah, that's why I ain't got time no more. It's a wrap. Generational wealth is when you accrue enough, and this is my definition, and it aligns with the definition. All right. When you accrue enough money, you generate enough money that can live on for generations. So, for instance, I got a kid, or I got two kids, let's say. I invest into the future, right? I'm never going to touch this money. When I die, they have enough money that they can live and continue to invest and continue to roll that money over for the next generation and the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. And that could be annuities, it could be ETF stocks, it could be real estate. And we ain't talking about no little 10, 20,000 either. That ain't generational. We don't even got life insurance policies in our community. That's why you see so many GoFundMe's. I don't think a life insurance policy is an investment, but if you think about it early enough, right? When your kids are young and you plan on living a long life, you can take out a nice, decent life insurance policy that, God forbid, when you transition, it'll be enough money to start that vehicle. And if you're really, really smart, simultaneously, you'll have investments that they can pair with it. It's generational, one generation to the next. So I'm gonna tell you this: the last generation that really invested into generational wealth was the boomers. I'm talking about as a generation as a whole. I'm not saying that there aren't Xers or millennials. Early millennials, not late millennials. Early millennials, Xers that haven't, but the last generation that generation really strongly as a generation that really it was timing, the opportunity, and all that shit played a part with boomers. Boomers got money. Every boomer I got, if you know a boomer, they may act like they cheap and they may act like they poor. You'd be surprised how much money they got. That generation, they don't talk about their money. They don't talk about it. You ain't gonna know. They ain't gonna tell you about it unless you like the beneficiary or the executor of a trust that they left it to. The boomers, they ain't got nothing but money. Nothing but money. It was a great opportunity for them. The timing was great. Think of some of y'all is old enough that got some boomer parents or some boomer aunties, uncles. You probably agreeing with me. Yeah, yeah. They were encouraged work. They were encouraged vocation, right? A lot of them served, right? They had a lot of opportunities, and the cost of living in comparison to what they were making in wages, it just was great. Then you could work, have a family, own a home, The wife could be a homemaker. For some of y'all that's young, don't know what a homemaker is a housewife. And had two station wagons. A station wagon back then was equivalent to the soccer mom van now. And if you really in a certain tax bracket, a lot of stay at home wives, the more wealthier people, the G65 or the G550. If you just a regular get by guy that's just going to work, making enough money to take care of the family, you want the wife to stay at home and you okay, then the soccer mom, Honda Odyssey. But two station wagons back in the day. And this is a guy that's working, like I said, at the mill or a factory. The cost of a person could go work at the factory or the mill and be able to cover all that off of one income and still save. Times have changed. The unfortunate thing is the mindset that the boomers had, generations now don't have it. They're not preparing for it. There's articles on it. There's news segments on it. It's just people don't read those. They don't look at those. I do. And I'm preparing for all the shit that's going to come with it. The opportunities from a financial investment and the unfortunate things that are going to come with it. As time goes on and things get tougher and people aren't doing what they're supposed to do, I already know crime is going to go up because it's continue to go up. Homelessness is going to go up. You starting to see scared roads across the country. We ain't never dealt with homelessness like LA deal with it. You come here, you see people in the park. I ain't growing up, and even 10 years ago, you didn't see tents in the park here in Chicago. You got tents all in the park, all under the viaducts, all up alongside the expressway, all down on Lower Wacker, like more homeless people on Lower Wacker than ever before. Why? Because the cost of living is too high. People can't even afford to buy a home. You got two people that are making $100,000 a year that can't even get a home. So now you got people that aren't investing into anything. You got people that are professional giggers, which if you want to be a professional gigger, that's fine. But we know a person that's a professional gigger, technically that's a person that's just getting by, right? That's an individual that has to invest into their future if they want to be a professional gigger. And we know that they're not doing it because statistics show that they're not doing it. So as time goes on and things get harder, cost of living increases, people that don't want to work traditional jobs makes it harder for them to get jobs later because those jobs don't exist. A lot of jobs are going away because of technology. People that want to, jump into, let's say that the gig economy, we seen the results of that, and that's only going to continue to get more and more competitive. And if you follow my channel and you understand business, you understand economics, you understand what comes along with more competition. The less opportunity, less money for people to invest into the future. Crime is going to go up. So to me, I look at it from both sides of the coin. I look at the opportunity there, but I also look at the negative aspect too. I prepare for both. And in preparation, as far as like an investment, I sacrifice. I put money where it's going to continue to make me money for the rest of my life. You have stuff that you don't touch, and then you have stuff that you do touch. That's that. All right, I got a bunch of super chats, and I know I seen them pop up. Let me go through them. What's the misconception about the 5K thing? Well, you already know. Me and you've had this debate, or we haven't had the debate, but you've said some things about me. But I think you recanted once you did a little research on that part. But I don't, I don't, I don't, I don't advise anybody to start this business with less than $5,000. I think it's a recipe for disaster. Now, are there people that scrape by the hair on their chinny chin chin? Absolutely. But the majority don't. The difference between like a lot of y'all and me is because of where I sit as far as influence, I talk to a lot of people. Not everybody clicks the link. There's people that I talk to behind the scenes that reach out to me. Y'all don't see this because I don't talk about it because it's I'm not gonna put nobody's business in the street. Sometimes people come into Discord in a smaller setting and they may come in a chat where it may be 10 plus people and they may, divulge because they don't want to do it here where there's more people watching the live stream and then the replay, and then if I clip it, so they'll come there or they'll just reach out to me like maybe on Facebook Messenger or Instagram. And a lot of people have put themselves in very, very, very bad situations because they were misled. And one of the big ways they're misled is with this whole $5,000 thing. What they didn't understand is that working capital is a thing, and it's a thing for a reason. Not everybody gets lucky. You may have gotten lucky, but the majority don't. So when I speak to the majority. I don't speak to the minority. I speak to the majority of people who fail because they were misled. Now you can counter it and say, well, Mark, you got to start somewhere, you got to try. But once again, there's people that come that aren't in the position to think like that or risk it like that. If you're a single person and you only have you to depend on, you want to take that risk, that's one thing. It's a difference when it's a single mother. It's a difference where it's a father that has a family to support, that has a job, and he doesn't have much savings, but he's just frustrated at his job, and he really just needs somebody to talk him off the ledge. But he want to take that little 4,000 he got and try it, and he do it, and he fucked up. See, you don't see those conversations. Y'all don't hear them. So when I get the backlash that I get, I just ignore it because I know the statistics. Y'all know them too, but y'all don't hear these stories. Out of that 80 to 90% of people fail, 80 to 90, although 80 to 90% of people that fail just don't bounce back tomorrow. It's some people that was in desperate fucking situations. They shouldn't have made that choice, but did it because they was misled. They didn't have nobody to have an intelligent conversation with them, go through a risk analysis. So when you challenge me on this shit, you're challenging me from your perspective out of the 10% that may have gotten lucky or may have made it. You don't speak for the 80 to 90% and then the percentage within that shouldn't have took that risk in the first place because they wasn't financially strong enough to do it. A person who's only has to depend on them and can live like a Viking and thug it out, like the guy we saw 2 or 3 weeks ago that I reacted to that sold everything, that's living in his fucking truck. He sold everything. He don't even have an apartment no more. Put his shit in storage, he living in a truck. That person who can take that risk, a person with a family cannot take that same risk. I'm not going to go that deep into specifics when I say, yo, don't do it. I'd rather you be mad and say, oh, this, that, and third. But the majority of people that are in desperate situations that see that, and it may just stop them and force them to go back to the drawing board and just think it through a little bit more. Because in the reality, majority of the people that come in like that fail. And it's not close. 80, 90%. Appreciate that super chat. Appreciate that super chat, Sam. Who else we got? All right, so those are 2 super chats. All right. All right. So that's it. I don't, I ain't finna sit here and sell nobody no dream. I ain't gotta hate on you. I ain't gotta do that. You know what I'm saying? So the only thing I do is I try to give people the information they need and help. But then I had a few people tell me recently, I don't want your help. Well, fuck you then. I don't, and I'm not talking to you. I'm just saying in general. So if I can, I'm not gonna go in depth when I realize that a majority of people, our mental wavelengths is on 2 different playing fields. The demographic from an age perspective and ethnicity perspective that's coming in, I understand it. I'm not gonna be able to. They're not gonna be able to understand in totality and depth my message. The people who want it, they know where to find me. They'll come into my Discord. There's gonna be people that just see one video and they just gonna think it's something that it's not because they didn't go full in depth and look at other videos and understand. I'm cool with that. But then there's gonna be a small percentage of people that's gonna be like, wait a minute, hold on. Why is he the only one or one of the few that's saying this? Can I go deep in depth like I just did for you? I could, but I don't want to. I just did it for you so that you can understand my mentality and my perspective on that. But I don't have to, you know, like I'm not finna be going back and forth with ignorant motherfuckers, bro. I'll never win. Cause it's gonna be way more of them the people that think sensical, think logical. They got the internet and the propaganda and the people that's pushing false reality as a machine. I can't beat that machine. Not just me. So I realize I'm just not gonna fight that battle no more, bro. I'm just straight. I'm gonna talk to the people that want to talk real. You know where to find me at, and then every now and again I'll come on and chop it up. I'll still do the shows. We gotta revamp the Wise Men. I'm taking auditions for the Wise Men. We gotta revamp that show. We gonna revamp some other stuff. Call in show. We just I ain't finna be sitting up here arguing with these This ignorant shit, bro. I ain't got time for it no more. I did it for 3 years. Hell no. That shit crazy. These motherfuckers ain't gonna change their mindset. Let them fail. We just gonna invest into the things that we can capitalize because of the level of ignorance, just not even just in trucking, just in general, that society is perpetuating. One thing about me is I accept reality for what it is, and I try to find the opportunities in it, and that's it. I look for opportunities. Just accept shit for what it is. Not trying to change shit. If motherfuckers want to be stupid, cool. What we need to invest in. Police don't want to. Police is less police. I see. We going in this direction. What we need to invest in robotics. Yeah, we probably gonna see robotic cops eventually, robo type cops and shit. What company? Who are early? Who building shit like that right now? Can we get in early? Yeah, we might be going to war. Yeah, maybe we should go ahead and put some money in the Palantir. Yeah, we might need to do that. Yeah, we might need to do that. That's how I look at shit. All right, so that's it. Shout out to Dracum. I just want to make sure I got everything. Those other people with 6 people. I think I read that one. Define generational wealth. Shout out to you, Sam B. Appreciate that. So I got so many different accounts, and I'm not saying that like I ain't bragging, but it's just a lot different things. So I got shit that I have that I can access, but then I got shit that I have to talk to my financial advisor person to get things that I can't touch, things that I get penalized. I got things that got a death benefit at payout. I got all type of shit, bro. I got all type of shit, bro. You know, so and I continue to invest still. I continue to invest still. Um, so aggressive sacrifices. Yeah, aggressive sacrifices. Um, Somebody said Rolls Royce. Ricky said, if you ain't got no insurance, you right. And I didn't want to say that to him that day because I think the conversation would have went somewhere differently. And I wanted to keep things going. I didn't want to press him on his personal decisions that didn't affect the business per se. That if I would have pressed him on that, that was more why you got the car and you ain't paying insurance on it. That's something ain't right about that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I peeped it then, but I just like when I'm doing these shows, I got a lot of things that be racing through my head. Um, One, I got to keep the engagement going. Two, I got to get to the point. Um, Three, I got to give them the information. So I got a lot of shit racing through my head, and when I be saying I be having a headache, some of it does come from the you've been watching my channel, like some of those really really intense call-in shows. Yeah, some of it does come from the individual, but you got like unless you've done this type of content before, like I got shit going through my head to keep the shit flowing. I'm thinking about what I'm finna say next, how I'm gonna line this up. I'm paying attention kind of to the chat. I gotta make sure the engagement is up. Do I crack a joke here? Do I do this there? So my mind be racing, and I'm formulating how I'm setting the stuff up. Do I say this? Do I not say this? The reason why I've been able to navigate, I think, in the live stream sector really, really well, um, is because I have a gift at doing just that. I'm able to process a lot of stuff in my head. so that I just don't say nothing. I don't want to offend anybody. I never go personal with people. I have to say, yo, is this sticking to what we're sticking on? Is it going too far? You know what I'm saying? So, when he said that day, I'm just like, okay, we're not gonna go with that. We're gonna go here. You know what I'm saying? I may use that as a talking point later on down the line, but for what we're doing right now, it doesn't hold any merit. So I'm just gonna let it go. I believe everything he said. I definitely believe that he had both cars. Um, but that wouldn't strike me as odd because he has two cars. One is parked. What's the point of having two cars that you ain't never driving because you working? That just says a lot within itself. And even with me telling him what to do and just so yeah. You want a reaction to the Sean Duffy video? I gotta look at the Sean Duffy video you talking about. So shout out to Box Truck Buddha. So yeah, that's just where we at. So hopefully, somebody got some type of value from this. Hopefully you got people that are out that going to do what's in their best interest. They don't look at things from a negative perspective. They look at the things that I say from something that hopefully should inspire you uh uh to want uh to 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 do better. And I'm just gonna be honest with you before I leave. Life, is not gonna get easier unless you make it easier. A way to make life easier is be uh, sound financially. That comes with just good decision making and sacrifices. Um, you gotta work hard to get the revenue or the money that you need to be able to put yourself in a position where you can create this generational wealth and you can prepare yourself for the future. One truck, in my honest opinion, and I think a lot of the guys with one truck will probably can agree, to balance the business, pay yourself to cover to for the cost of living, you know, factor in healthcare and dental and healthcare, life insurance, all these insurances, and then still have enough to roll over into retirement. It's not enough. So you got to figure out what you got to do to get to that point. And this is what it is. Shout out to somebody said Kirk live. It's funny how I don't go live, but then when I go live, nobody goes live. But then when I go live, you send other people live. Oh yeah, he is live. That's crazy, ain't it? Y'all ever wonder that? Am I like the person that motivates people or some shit? I guess I am. You know, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Appreciate the wisdom, Mark, watching for a year now. Appreciate you for watching for a year. I appreciate it for the word, and yeah, man, all you said was 100% true. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I didn't. I know some people are gonna not adhere to it, and that's cool. You know, I'm gonna tell you this. I know I said one thing, but we've seen the homeless population across the country just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. I've never seen a homeless population in my city the way I see it now. Like we just, but it's a sign. Now there's gonna be people that ignore the sign. People are getting displaced. People are getting displaced. A lot of the reasons are due to their ignorance. A lot of the reasons are due to things that are beyond their control. It was just like I was arguing or debating somebody the other day as far as in my city. This guy ran on the promise he wasn't going to raise property taxes. He did something against many Chicagoans, not advice, but we were against it. He did it anyway. And guess what? What he did that we were against, we're paying for it. And what he said he wasn't going to do, he's doing it. It's already expensive to live here. So now things that are beyond our control, we're paying for it tenfold. Now, if you have a mindset of complacency, you're going to be just like the people that are being displaced. You got people that just make bad decisions. You got people that do what they're supposed to do, but then they hit a level of complacency, which means they just coast right here. They still not thinking for the future. And then what happens is the cost of living continues to go this way. Things that are beyond your control continue to boost it up. Unforeseen economic things happen that inflate it even faster. It speeds up the pace. And next thing you know, you fall behind. The people that are complacent are the people that are getting displaced. And it's unfortunate. So I see, more and more tents. More and more tents, and I understand why. I don't want people to end up in a fucking tent. And I don't understand why when I say certain things, certain people just get upset instead of thinking and processing what I'm saying. People just get upset and they listen to this shit emotionally, and instead of processing it, trying to figure out a way to comprehend it so they can understand what I'm saying. Like, a lot of information that I give is so you can have longevity, not for the day. I see what people click. I made 10,000 this week in my box truck. I made 10,000 this week in my semi truck. That's the shit that gets the views. Cool, I'm cool with that. I said that to say this. That's the mindset of the people. They think for now. I want to talk to people who are thinking and preparing for the future. I'm a person that can look back 10 years, 15 years and say that mind frame was always future. Right now I'm thinking ahead. Mentally, I'm in 2026 already. You thinking about fucking pumpkin patches and shit. You thinking about fucking Friendsgiving. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. I'm thinking about 2026 and how to run it up. I don't give a fuck about Friendsgiving. I don't care about none of that shit. Mentally, I'm in 2026. I'm prepared for where we need to have the money at 2026. What's gonna come? Y'all already told you what I think gonna happen with trucking. I was talking to Entre Mike I think it was yesterday, the day before. Like, man, something finna happen. Something finna happen. I already know what's finna happen. It's gotta happen. And it's gonna be a lot of unfortunate people that's gonna have to meet their demise as far as, their money, their business, but it has to happen for things to reset, so things to get better. You don't want to be the person that gets hit with that meets their demise because of the reset. The reset has to happen. We need money circulating. Either we need a reset where money can circulate, or they're gonna have to print more money. I don't want them to print more money because then you're gonna see what you're seeing now all over again. I don't want them to put more money into circulation. I want to have a reset. putting more money in circulation is gonna be bad for a lot of people who don't think like me. Either way, I'm prepared. Hopefully we just go ahead and just let this knock the bottom out this motherfucker. Some of y'all listening to me and this shit going over your head, and when this shit happen, you gonna think about what Mark said. You gonna come back, you be like, damn, I've seen it happen already a couple times. If you old enough to understand things, you know it's something on the horizon. You're gonna have people that are gonna prosper when it happens. You're gonna have people that's gonna lose everything. Which side of the equation you want to be on? Or you might be too late to the game to prosper, but you may have enough time to save shit by getting shit in order now so you don't lose shit. The real money is made when things collapse, because that's when the real money buys. I was talking to somebody this morning. He wants to buy his truck. I talked to him again. This is somebody I know in real life who works for a trucking company, semi-truck company. The person he drives for is telling him, no, it's not the right time. I said, they sending you off. I said, everything he told you was bullshit. I said, I don't advise you get a truck, period. You know what I'm saying? But I said, if you absolutely must, now is the right time. He said, why would it? I said, why would you wait for the market to turn? I said, if the market goes up, why the fuck do you want to come in and buy in the upswing? That's the stupidest shit you can do. That's the same as the people that came into the trucking market during the pandemic. Smart money buys in a downturn, in a fucked up economy. Why? That's when your best entry is. From a cost perspective, then you ride the shit to the top, then you exit. If you buy in on the upswing, what sense does that make? If you got the cash, which a lot of other people don't have, to buy in low and ride the wave up, that's when you do it. Then you get out. You don't buy here. Because what do we know? Shit goes tops, go down. What goes up must come down. When the shit bottoms, the bottom, it has nowhere to go but to the top. You buy at the bottom. Why is our government shut down? Because you got two sides of the aisle that don't agree. Why are we aiding other countries? Because we've been in bed with other countries. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about the Israel. I don't want to talk about it. You're not going to bait me. Because see, what's going to happen now is I'm going to tell you, some people going to agree, some people going to disagree, and they're going to get mad. And then I learned to stay away from those types of conversations. Some people want the truth. Some people can't handle the truth. It just is what it is. Like if you got common sense, why do you think? Just think about it. Why would I give money to somebody if I'm not in bed with them? Why when certain people are asked about certain places, they dance? What's known don't need to be explained. I just don't want to talk about certain things because certain things when I talk about certain things, it just gets too personal. People take things personal, and I just learned not to talk about things. I can look at things and just accept things for what it is. I don't get that emotionally caught up in politics and shit like that because I just accept it for what it is. I don't really I know it. I pay attention, but I don't care one way or the other, if that makes sense. Why? Because guess what? At the end of the day, it could be a red person in the goddamn White House. It could be a goddamn blue person in the White House. Guess what? At the end of the day, the mortgage is still gonna come. The insurance is still got to get paid. The utilities still got to get paid. Bills still got to get paid. Shit got to get done. I ain't never known a situation that when a red person was in the seat that things changed as far as personally. Sometimes we made more money, sometimes we didn't. But I'm saying shit didn't stop. Regardless of who in the goddamn White House, I still gotta pay these bills. So what I realize is that, some people that come in the White House, it may benefit me more than others. That's how I look at it. Some people may benefit me more than others. I don't look at it from the way a lot of people look at it. I'm not on welfare. So I'm not heavy blue because I'm a welfare. I'm not on welfare, so I ain't leaning that way. I ain't a 1%er, so I ain't leaning heavy that way. You know what I'm saying? I base my decisions, based on what I just told you. Who's going to benefit me a little bit better than the other for 4 years? For whatever reasons are strong. But the things that happen that I see that happen in the world, you got people out here protesting, and you got paid actors out here doing crazy shit. Like, I don't get that caught up. You know what I'm saying? I don't get that caught up. I ain't getting that caught up. I don't want to go into depth online no more because I realize people do get that caught up. I ain't that caught up. Well, Mark, what about that? Shit ain't got shit to do with me. But you don't feel it? No. I don't worry about shit that ain't got shit to do with me and my people. Well, what about if it was your? What if? I don't speak for the mass majority of the. I speak for me and my people, my mama, my brother, my niece, my homies, my friends, my community of subscribers, my people in my Discord, the people that when that line is drawn on the sand, the people that stand on this side with me, because more than likely we gonna resonate. The people that's on my side that don't resonate with me, and I'm not speaking about the people here, the people that say in my real life, they look at me like a leader. Yo, Mark, what you think? Well, it's what I think. Well, I don't really agree, but I'm gonna take your word because you know what? The results of all the years I've known you, you won way more than you lost. And that's it. I make my decisions for the betterment of me and my people. Just because you got the same color skin as me, if you don't resonate or we don't align as far as our thought process, don't mean we on the same team. I may be making a decision that may be for the betterment of you and you just don't realize it yet. Sometimes as a leader, you gotta make that sacrifice. You gotta get cussed out, kicked and shit for a motherfucker to realize later on, okay, I see why you did that shit. I'm not no follower. I'm a leader. Always been. I could take the heat and I could dish it too. So, but getting back to what you saying, we in bed with a lot of people, bro. I know what I'm gonna say this, bro, and this is why I don't get emotional when it comes to conversations like this. I'm from a place where it's corrupt. My city, my state, corrupt. Been corrupt all my life. I look at the country like a business, just like I look at my city like a business. It's a business. This country ain't nothing but a big business. We do business with other countries. We invest, we exchange commodities, so on and so forth. There's things that happen that we don't even know about. Some things we may disagree with if we knew what they were. Some things some people may disagree with. Some people may agree with because it may be something that is for the betterment of society. And some people may look at it that way, while other people don't. And I'm not speaking on any one situation. We in bed with other people. We give other people money because we give other people money, other countries money because we in bed with them. The reasons may be unbeknownst to us, but it's clear we in bed with them. So that's asking that question is like saying, "Yo, why give money to people that are not here legally when we got veterans on the street?" I asked somebody that question and they couldn't answer it. So it's going to be a lot of questions when you see, leaders and countries make decisions that you may not understand. Well, why would you do this if we got this? Same thing. You got homeless people that are citizens, homeless on the street, that are American citizens. You got homeless veterans. Why don't we help these people? That's a question that a lot of people ask. I asked the question too, but I don't get, me personally, deep. Oh, why? Because I know those people matter, but they might not fit the agenda that's on the docket at the moment from a political perspective. Now, don't let that shit go over your head. Just like me and Sage were going back and forth the other day. He said, "Oh, we don't need to send the people to Chicago." I said, "Yeah, send them. Fuck it." "Well, man, it's just a Band-Aid." Okay. "But Mark, it's a political stunt." I agree. But it's a political stunt that benefits a certain demographic of people. So even though it's a political stunt, it's not a political stunt that has negative adverse effect. Like, this is a political stunt that benefits people. And I went on to explain to him, it don't benefit me. I can handle myself. It benefits the senior citizens, the older people that are out, that just want, like I said, want to go to the pharmacy and get their medicine. A more police presence, whether it be the National Guard, the Army, or whoever the fuck they said they was going to send to Chicago, to me, I'm okay with it. I ain't no motherfucking criminal, so it don't bother me. But it's going to be a benefit to the people who are being terrorized by the senseless violence that's going on in the city, the seniors. That presence will make it a little bit safer. That presence will save some people's lives. Yeah, it's a political stunt, but it's a political stunt that will save people's lives for a short period of time, and it'll make the street safer. He didn't understand it the way that I see it. So I can use that as an example. We all have our reasonings. Your reason may be right, my reason may be right. A lot of people have their opinion on Chicago and that situation, and they don't live here. I live here, and I'm telling you, send them motherfuckers, because it don't affect me. But it's going to make shit safer for the people who don't have the situation where are not street savvy like me. Those are the people that is going to benefit more. And it's also going to benefit the people that could have potentially lost their life with a lesser presence on the street. So he had a point. I had a point. His point was correct. My point was correct. Even though he didn't see my point, you're not going to see my point because you ain't in here. You ain't in these streets. I'm out here in these streets. So I see it. I see it surface level. I had to explain to him, like, you don't know these Venezuelans kicking people doors in. Who they kicking door? Who doors they kicking in, taking over? Seniors, people that are vulnerable. Mark got a senior citizen mom. That shit, you think that shit don't worry me. So why would I not want it? Well, Mark, it's just a band-aid. Okay. It's a band-aid that works in a favor for a short period of time. We'll take it. If you're not a criminal, you ain't got shit to worry about. I don't look at things the way, like, I look at things different than other people, and we may both be right, but I don't get emotionally. I didn't get upset that he thought the way that he thought. I agree with him. It's a political stunt, but it's political stunt works in favor. No, I'm not gonna let nothing happen to listen, listen. Joe, listen. That shit ain't listen. That it God forbid on everything I love. We ain't honoring no Illinois state. I swear for God, on everything I love, God is my witness. I'm not honoring no Illinois state squatting whatever. I ain't honoring it. I ain't honoring it. You take control of some shit, I swear for God. God is my witness. You could think I'm woofing. I swear for God. We ain't honoring no squatting statue. You coming up out of there one way or the other. I ain't coming by myself. You coming up out of there one way or another. I swear for God on everything I love. Investment property, I may handle a little bit different. Mama crib, you coming up out that bitch. I swear for God on everything I love. So you're right. We wouldn't let that happen. But at the end of the day, when I debated that with him, there's people that unfortunately have been affected. Their homes were taken and seized because they were vulnerable. They lived alone. They were vetted. They were scouted. And this is not what the news talks about. So when people look at shit like that from a national news perspective that are not here, you don't see what goes on locally. And even still, like, he debated, but nobody cares until it's them. It's their loved one or it's their family or somebody in their community. So that's the thing. Nobody cares until it's them. I care about my people. So, you know, so it's a stunt that, like I said, the benefited, I think, people in this community or in this city. So yeah, so I just accept things, Joe, for what they are, and I try to capitalize on them where I can, and forecast as well. So that's it, and that's all. Shout out to Mitch. Mitch just moved to the outskirts. Mitch moved from Pittsburgh to the suburbs of Chicago. You said Money Martin knows it's going to bring more revenue, more money into the city. What, the military coming here is going? You think it's going to bring more money into the city? I think it's going to bring a level of calm to the city. I think Lil Fo and them going to have to go ahead and think. They're going to have to go ahead and sit down for a little while. They're going to have to go on vacation. They're going to have to put some of them switches up. They're going to have to put some of them sticks up. And they're going to have to take a little vacation. They're going to have to take a little vacation. And that little vacation, if it were to happen, which it probably ain't, it's going to save a bunch of their lives. So it's going to be beneficial for them too, because some of them would have been in a situation where they would have crossed their ops path and they wouldn't have made it. with more force or just more people, it serves as a deterrent. They don't necessarily have to engage. It's just a deterrent within itself. The thing is, there's a less presence because of, goes back to what we talked about earlier. People just don't want to work. People don't want to do work. Then there's certain jobs people just don't want to do. I wouldn't want to be goddamn police officer neither. Shit. In a city like this, the chances of you making it home is a chance you ain't gonna come home. It's a chance you might not come home. That ain't, to me, I say we do a risk assessment. Is that worth 70 a year? Every day hoping I'm gonna come home. That's not, to me, that's not worth 70. Then I gotta work X amount of years to get to 100. That ain't, to me, that ain't worth it. They ain't worth the mental anguish. That's why so many cops here, they kill themselves. I think 1 week, like it was like a period like a year ago where, man, it was a cop offing himself every week. I ain't bullshitting. Go look it up. And guess what they was doing? In their squad car. Like, who want to live like that? So I get it. So shit, more presence, cool. I ain't shit, nigga. I'm not worried about that shit. I'm straight. I ain't no criminal. So whether they come or don't, cool. But you know, it's going to be hard for you to if you ain't set up by now, it's going to be harder for you because these immigrants will do it cheaper. Great. It's going to be harder to compete. It's going to be harder to compete. You are 100% correct. You're 100% correct. One reason is their cost. The living is a lot lower. You know, they live in, for some of y'all middle Americans that don't live in a big city, let me tell you how they live, because you don't see it. They'll go rent a place, and there'll be 3-4 families living in a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom. All the men will go out and work. They'll pull their resources together, all their money together, right? So now their cost of living is minimal because you got multiple people sacrificing in something that's designed for one family, but you got 3 families in there. Even the ones that are buying, my old commercial landlord, one of the last conversations I was talking, because he was unloading property a few years ago because the market was just that time. A lot of people that invested into property after 08 during the housing market crash, which goes back to what I told you a few minutes ago. Whenever the market is at its bottom, it presents the best opportunity, right? So a lot of people that were fortunate enough, I wasn't fortunate enough at that time because I was just getting started. If I would have been where I'm at today, I would have scooped up a lot of shit back then. But anyway, a lot of people that were buying property in 2010, 2011, 2012, they got property for dirt cheap. People that are old enough to remember will agree. Within the last 5 years, a lot of those people have been offloading. My cousin bought a 2-flat out west for like 70 back then, 70, 80 all in. Purchase, rehab. He sold it for like 400, 500. My commercial landlord was telling me that a lot of properties he was offloading a couple years ago, it was Hispanics buying them over in Inglewood, and it was 10 names on the goddamn loan application, all Hispanic. So even from that perspective, they pulling their resources together to acquire property as well. They will stay down till they come up. I'm old enough to know, and I've seen the transition in culture. We dominated, as far as this city, we dominated all civil service jobs. City, we ran City Hall. Chicago Transit bus drivers, the garbage men, streets and sanitation, so on and so forth. That shit all Hispanic now. They done passed us in population by 1%. Well, last time I checked, they was 30%. We was 29. They coming in and they taking shit from an owner business perspective and even from, job perspective. You go to your local McDonald's in the hood here, where normally years past it would be teenagers and people that work at McDonald's that live in the fucking neighborhood. You go to a McDonald's or a fast food restaurant in an all black neighborhood now, it's all Hispanic. These people are taking a bus to go work at McDonald's. They're taking a bus from wherever they come from into another neighborhood to work at McDonald's. See, now a lot of people who ain't business minded, who don't think like I think, right? This is why they fucked up out here in these streets and struggling, because they thinking for the day and they not paying attention to what the fuck is going on. I peep shit like that. That shit to you wouldn't even look that deep. Like, bro, why? This is a blackety black neighborhood. What the fuck is Miguel doing? The whole staff is Miguel. I look at shit like that. They coming. They here. The mentality that I try to teach to the people that listen to me, they have that mentality. The sacrifice they're making it. They coming to take everything you got. Black, white, Asian, other. Everything. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, the people that pay attention and see it and understand, they're gonna be fine, because they're gonna prepare and they're gonna do what they gotta do, so they make sure that they got opportunities and that they people got opportunities. The people who are focused on all the dumb shit and the distractions that's going on in the world today, the government shutdown, fucking puffies, goddamn it, trial, goddamn it, Cardi B and Nicki Minaj going back and forth, and all this shit. They spending all their day focusing on all the distractions, the government shutdown, Charlie Kirk, which, yo, okay, keep up with the news, keep abreast, but when you spend all your time focusing on the dumb shit, you don't focus on what really matters, and then you get left behind. Because I tell you one thing they not doing either: hiring your black ass. They pulling they people up. They start from the bottom. They work their way up to management, and then they start bringing in their own people. This is why McDonald's, like I said, in the hood, in a all black neighborhood, becomes all Hispanic staffed, with people who fucking taking a goddamn transit from way across town to work at McDonald's. Now you can't get in there, even if you wanted to. See, that's the shit that motherfuckers see. That motherfuckers don't think about. They don't talk about that shit. Do I got another channel? Nope. I talked about it here and then I stopped. I'm gonna tell you why I stopped. I did it in the members only. We ran it up last year. I told everybody I was getting out. I said, I don't feel comfortable. This shit don't feel right. Something's off. Made too much money in 3 months. Not normal. So this little shit that we got going on here, I'm gonna take these investments and I'm gonna exit. Now y'all can do what y'all want to do now. Y'all can do what you want to do. I'm just telling you, I'm taking the money. I'm up 100% here, 1,000, 2,000% over there. Most people stayed in. It turned into another one of them situations where, man, Mark, you was right. Greedy pigs get led to the slaughter. So when I did that, it made me realize that kind of goes back to what I just talked about here, self-control. I don't want to be in a position where, you know, I have an influence and it leads people and I can't monitor it 24 hours a day, and I'm doing things in the back end that you may not know about because it's 2 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And I'm making moves, making things happen, moving shit around, and something changes and it affects you. Or I help you get to this money. And one particular person who was a content creator, he talked about it. You can go watch his channel. He gave me the credit. Life changing money, and they just stayed in. I don't want that shit weighing on me, man. You know, if I say yo move, move. If I say yo take it, take it. I know what I'm talking about, and that just proved it. So when it comes to that, I realized right then and there, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be responsible for like investments. I talked about it was a stock about a month and a half ago. We was on the broker show, and I hinted at a stock, and Kenneth was on there, and I'm like, man, it's something I think finna really take off, and I don't want to say it because I'm sure, I'm like 99% sure, but man, this might be the one time I'm wrong, and I got to keep my streak 100%. I was right, and I felt bad afterwards because that shit doubled in less than 30 days. And I said what it was since then was Open Door. Open Door was like at three something, $4, and that shit went to nine within 30 days. So a person that was risky, that say would have took 100 grand and put it in it, they would have turned that 100 into 200 in 3 weeks. Now did me and my homies make the money? Yeah, we made it, but I just wasn't. I don't know. I just didn't want to. And people was guessing. Kenneth was guessing. He just kept guessing wrong. And I said it started with a vowel. I just didn't want to. I don't want to be responsible for that shit, bro. I just don't. I felt bad because I felt like there would have been some people that would have listened and they would have made money and they would have really been happy, especially in a time like now where a lot of people are struggling with their truck. But then, I had to stick to my guns. I said I'm not doing it no more, so I had to stick to it. Oh. I think truck prices are gonna go up in the next year. I think truck prices are gonna rise when the economy rises, just like any other thing with supply and demand. I think as long as the economy is suppressed, the trucking industry is suppressed, and the market is where it's at, then less trucks are going to be sold, which makes truck dealers, lower their prices. I think if the economy goes up, truck prices are going to go up. So you have to be a smart business person and know when the best opportunity presents itself. Me, the best opportunity is always going to present when the cost of entry is at its lowest. As an investor, I would invest when the market is low. Now, navigating through this industry in a time like this, that's a whole separate conversation. But if you invest low, and you understand what you're investing into, and you listen to a lot of the shit that I talked about just even in this live stream today, and you adhere to it, you should be fine. And then if the economy goes in an upward swing, You came in with a low cost of entry because you invested when the market was suppressed. You sustain in that market profitably. When the market goes up, you have a low cost and you have rates that are going up, and you're going to be able to reap the benefits of that. What's going to happen then is there are going to be people like content creators, and it's never going to get back to the pandemic. But let's just say when rates in an upward economy where rates, do go up a little bit, where you can, loosen the buttons on your neck and breathe a little bit. You're going to have content creators. They're going to run to the internet and they're going to start talking about it. People are going to start coming back into trucking. The capacity is going to go up. The smart truckers are going to shut the fuck up. The ones that are active, that do content, they're going to shut the fuck up. But we know they just can't shut the fuck up. They're going to come and they're going to talk about it. And then there's going to be other things that are going to be going on in the world too. And then a year or two, maybe, something's going to happen, or maybe 3 or maybe 4. We don't know. Where the economy is going to go in a downward trajectory. This cycle is going to repeat itself all over again. Now, the person who comes in at the bottom or near the bottom, like now, who came in, was able to profit and sustain at the bottom, rode it to the top, did what they were supposed to do for that amount of time, those couple of years, whatever it was. Now they got options. Not only do they have options, if they were smart, they probably got a fleet, nice little fleet, a few trucks. They have relationships. In a competitive market, because it's going to get more competitive during the downward trajectory, they're able to compete. Whereas the people that came in the upward swing, and then those content creators that ran their fucking mouth instead of just being quiet. What happened to getting your money and just getting your money? But those people that came in when things were good or better than, let's say, what they are, with that high cost of entry or a higher cost of entry, it's going to be harder for them to sustain as the market goes down. It's going to happen. What goes up must come down. And when you hit the bottom, it's going to go back up again. Those are the people that are going to have a hard time sustaining, and you'll be the person who will be the person that they're complaining about. When really you're not doing anything wrong. We know that people are ignorant. They complain about other people instead of the person in the mirror. Nobody can make your business sink or swim but you. It has nothing to do with another person, what rates they're taking, this, that, third. None of that shit really matters. There's people that win in every economy. The people that win in a down economy, they're going to definitely the people that win in an up economy, but those are the people who expected a downward spiral. They prepared for it and they know how to operate in it. It's the people that don't that complain. Smart money doesn't buy when it doesn't make sense. Smart money buys when it makes sense. You don't see people selling their homes right now, even though the return would be exceptional. Why? Inventory still is kind of an issue, but then the cost, rates. Why would a person that's locked into a 3% sell for 5 point whatever it is right now, or 6. We'll just stay where we at. It's not a buyer's market right now. Still a seller's market. You can make decent money depending on when you bought. If you bought pre-2016, you in the money. I don't give a fuck where you at. I know I'm in the money. But then if I sold my home, shit, I'm going to buy something that's more money that's probably not worth I'm going to spend for it at a higher rate. So in every industry, you have good seasons when it's a good season to invest, good season when it's not. You just got to know. I had a homie recently bought a home in this market about a year ago, 7%. 7%. That home would have sat on the market. He could have waited. That home would still be there today. Trust me. He would have saved another 1.5, 2 points. But like I say, people just patience, discipline, influence, partner influence. A lot of people have influence from their partner. So you think Bitcoin will hit an all-time high this weekend? I don't know. It could. But I can tell you one thing. Eventually here's the thing, because so much has changed since the last cycle. And I told people last year that the bull run was over, and like a lot of these influencers said, well, the second phase of the bull run is going to come around election. Election came and gone. Then they said it was going to come top of 2025. 2025 almost over. Now they saying we might have missed the bull run. If you go back and look at my content last year in the members only, I said I think we just had the bull run. I think the bull run cycle ran in reverse. Now the thing with the layer ones is there's a lot has changed since the previous cycle for layer ones, ETFs, institutional investments. So I don't think layer one cycle is going to run cyclical to the way it ran years prior. I think layer ones are going to run different, and I think it's still kind of the beginning stages since the ETFs to see if it's going to create a new cycle or not, or it's going to act like something like a SPY or a VOO. I just think it's too early. But I do. Last year I said, I think the bull run is over with. As far as that crypto, it ran in reverse. It did. It ran a normal cycle in reverse. Memes ran early. Memes always run at the end. That's an indicator that the cycle is about to come to an end. Get all your money and get the fuck out. Only the fools is listening to influencers buying into a meme coin explosion, like in the last cycle. Oh, buy Shiba Inu. Nigga, the real money is selling and already sold. Memes ran first. Shiba. Fucking all those Solana meme coins. Then it trickled down into the layer into the alts. It's running in reverse. What was the big sector in alts? AI. Then it came down. Bitcoin started running, hit 80, 85. It was delayed. Then it hit 100. Now it's at 120 something. Normally, in a normal cycle, layer ones run. People pull the money out. They trickle the money down into alts. People run it up in alts. They pull their money out. It trickles down into the memes. And then, obviously, after memes, this shit finna come crashing. The sucker's gonna get left holding the bag. It ran in reverse. I said it last year. We still ain't seen it. The bull run is over with. Now all those influencers are saying, "Oh well, we might have missed it," but y'all been telling people it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, dude. We halfway down through a typical bear market. If we gonna run on the same cycle, so somebody says all XRP. Now I sold my XRP and I ran it into something else that made me a lot more money. You know, people that held on to XRP, congratulations. I held on to that shit 4.5, whatever, 4.5 years. I saw an opportunity where I could take that and run it. I wasn't sure on it. I took it, I put it somewhere else. And I'm glad I put it where I put it, because even if I would have left it where I left it, I still made more money where I put it. So, you know, to each his own. Yeah, I gave XRP enough of my time, and I don't, you know, I'm glad I did what I did with my XRP when I did. You know, either way I was gonna make it. If I would have left it, I would have made it. But I came out better moving it to where I moved it to at that particular time last year. So, yeah. So, yep. So that's that. All right. All right. All right, y'all. All right. I appreciate it. I don't know when I'm coming back live again. I don't know. But appreciate y'all kicking it with me. I'm finna head to the gym, get this workout in so I can get back, get dressed, and enjoy my Friday night. Until next time, peace.